Hello there, my friend. Welcome to the Travel Inspired Podcast. We are your hosts, Rob and Kerri Stuart, coming to you from the Creating Magic Vacation Studio in Windermere, Florida. This is episode number 152, original air date December 17th, 2024.
Yeah, so happy holidays. It is about 1 week from Christmas, so are you ready?
No.
But it really has been a great year, and we are looking forward to 2025, big time.
I'm actually glad that we don't have any trips on the books until mid-March. We're going to head over to Vienna, Austria for the Astor River Cruise Expo. I'm looking forward to just relaxing at home for a couple months.
I know, me too. I mean, my brother's coming out for the holidays, so that's going to be fun. But we do have a lot of work to do in the next few months, so I'm glad we don't have any trips on the books.
We're even booking trips out to 2027, which I think is still kind of crazy. Although those are cruises, by the way. We can't book Disney that far out. But that tells you how fast that segment is growing, basically the cruise industry.
Yeah, I mean, they seriously cannot build the ships fast enough.
Very different industry than back in the days of the Love Boat and Captain Stubing and his crew.
So we actually met Gavin McLeod about 8 or 9 years ago on a Princess cruise, and he was very nice and totally classy.
He was, and that is yet another great travel story. So anyway, we just got back from, actually a few days ago, on Friday to be specific, from our short trip to Disneyland, and it made us think a lot about today's topic, and that is multi-generational travel.
Yeah, our friends just did that for Walt Disney World. We see a lot of it, and when we were in Disneyland, we saw a ton of multi-gen.
But what is one of the best, if not the best ways to do a multi-gen trip? And that is on a cruise.
Planning a multi-gen trip that is not a cruise has so many moving parts, and it can be stressful.
Which is why cruising specifically for multi-gen trips has become so popular.
Yeah, so a little bit about our cruise background. If you are new to the show or don't know anything about where we came from, we were first known in the travel industry for cruising before we were known for Disney.
We got married on a Carnival cruise out of Tampa Bay in 2005, and we honeymooned on the brand new at the time Carnival Dream a few weeks later. That was our first trip to Europe, and it was a 12-night round trip sailing from Rome, and then we even added like a 3-night post stay up in Florence. I say Florence because I'm thinking of Firenze, which is how you say Florence in Italian.
Yeah, so we also hosted and produced the TV show All Aboard TV that aired on the CW network in Tampa.
We also wrote a book on cruising, which you can see behind us if you're watching us on YouTube. Suffice it to say, we really know cruising, and we're about to show you why it's the best way to explore the world, especially for families that are new to international travel.
So for reference, when we say multi-gen, what we mean is at least 3 generations of a family. So grandparents with their kids and the grandkids.
Yes, it's not just the parents and the kids. That would be technically multi-generation, but that's a typical family trip.
Yeah, you need at least 3.
You gotta have 3 generations, and in some cases 4. Who knows?
Yeah, sometimes there are 4, which would be amazing. You know, I have a picture with my great grandma, and I think we had 5 generations in the picture. We never did a trip, but something very special.
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. The top 7 reasons to put a multi-gen cruise vacation on your bucket list.
Now we say bucket list because it's a very well-known, recognizable term. We prefer must-do travel list.
Yeah. You know, I've kind of warmed up to the bucket list because I think it's more like you fill your bucket. I have a new take on it.
As opposed to the actual term, which we're not going to mention. I agree with you.
Okay, so here we are. The top 7 reasons to cruise for a multi-gen trip, starting with number 1.
So starting with number 1 is there's something for everyone, and there are really so many options. Plus, no matter where you are, it's always just a short walk back to your cabin if you need a break.
Yeah, which is very beneficial when you're with a big group of people. And, you know, of course, if you are on the ship, it's easy to get back. But when you're in port, you're most likely to be out exploring with your family.
And that's the whole idea behind cruising. But on sea days, I do love me an afternoon nap.
I know you do, right? Okay, so let's start with just how big the industry is for cruising. So currently, according to CLIA, which is the Cruise Line International Association, there are 51 ocean cruise lines and 27 river cruise lines operating globally. So this brings the total number of recognized cruise lines to approximately 78. And there's probably even some specialty cruise lines that aren't even in that number, like some of the barge cruises, and there's like tons of yachting things that are coming out now too.
Yeah, the private yachts definitely not included. So there are about 323 ocean-going cruise ships and about 405 river cruise ships operating just in Europe alone, and many more even globally. So this brings the total number of cruise ships, ocean and river combined, to be around 728, and that's a very, very conservative number.
Yeah, which is absolutely insane. So we say about and around because these numbers can change on a monthly basis.
It just means that there is a huge number and variety of ships literally all over the world, and a lot of ships that are currently being built that are not even on the done list.
Yeah. So we've done cruises with as few as 25 people on board. That was an Amazon River cruise, to some of those mega ships with 6,000 to 7,000 people on them.
Well, and that really means that there is a cruise line and ship for everyone and anyone.
Okay, so reason number 2, and that is budgeting. So as we mentioned, we are booking cruises into 2027, which gives you plenty of time to pay for it over time. And that is a huge benefit to a lot of families where you need to kind of spread it out.
And like us, most agencies allow you to make any size payment at any time up until the date when final payment's due.
Yeah, and that final payment date is based on the individual cruise line. It does vary depending upon the length of your cruise.
Well, it also means that you know upfront what your cost is going to be because almost everything is included, which is reason number 3. And that is one of, I'd say, probably the biggest factor. Everything is included for the most part, with a few exceptions.
Yeah, so with most vacations, say like a trip to Disney or maybe a land trip to Europe, it's hard to know what you're going to spend, mostly based on food and activities. Not so much on a cruise because all of your food is included as part of your cruise fare, and the activities are kind of on your own.
And depending on which cruise line you choose, even drinks like beer, wine, and spirits are included.
Yeah, so let's kind of break down what you can expect as part of your cruise fare, starting with your cabin. So regular cabins can sleep up to 3 to 4 people, and then there are some suites that will accommodate more, but 3 to 4 is pretty much the average.
Here's our pro tip, and this goes to almost any cruise anywhere in the world. Specifically, I would say in the Med and Alaska, always get a balcony.
Yeah. So included with your cruise are your meals. And we're not talking just breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you want a snack, the kids want chicken fingers, want to like have a nice little ice cream, no problem. Now, for dinners, if the adults want a filet mignon, why not?
Or lobster.
Or lobster.
Or both. Also the entertainment, because many cruise lines have Broadway style shows that are great for any age, but there are also activities throughout the day. Bingo, trivia, in a lot of cases, casinos if you're having a day at sea. Often, and also what's very popular, movies out on the pool deck.
Yeah, so it's nice to have your entertainment included. Reason number 4, the places you can go on a cruise. Pretty much everywhere in the world. All 7 continents and hundreds of countries.
And just like we talk about when you're going to go to Italy, if it's your first time, you want to do the big 3, Rome, Florence, and Venice. And the top 3 are the big 3 cruise destinations, at least in the past when we started cruising. And those were the Caribbean, usually departing from Florida or one of the Florida ports, Alaska, and the Mediterranean.
So the more experienced cruisers may want to go to exotic places like the Galapagos Islands, Antarctica, or even Asia or like New Zealand, Australia.
Multi-gen travel doesn't have to include grandkids. Maybe it's parents with adult children river cruising, specifically in Europe, although technically that's only 2 generations. But river cruising in Europe is the hottest segment in travel right now. And to be blunt, river cruising with young kids, probably not the best idea.
Yeah, not unless you go with one like maybe a Taux Bridges or an Adventures by Disney.
Some, yeah.
But when you do add river cruises to the mix, there are hundreds of more locations that you can visit, especially if your family is well-traveled. I would consider it.
Well, that means that your family's not just going to have fun, they will learn other cultures, which we think is something that is sorely missing in today's times.
Yeah, I completely agree. Reason number 5, it's easy to plan these types of trips.
And it's even easier if you're working with an experienced travel agent. And even better if they really know cruising.
So recently, we booked a Viking Ocean cruise for a client, and the deposit was only $25. So one of the things that your travel advisor can do is find the perfect itinerary for your family. And so if you are doing like a Caribbean cruise, then it's all about what ports are going to offer the most activities for the kids' ages. So if you have a lot of like young toddlers, that's something that's going to be important. Maybe your family's really adventurous, and so you want to do an Alaskan cruise so that you can do some of those, a little more thrilling or land ocean tours. But that's just one of the things when it comes to planning. Cruises are really easy because you have a built-in itinerary to start with.
And in our system, within our agency, we have, I think, 44,000 different cruise itineraries that are already built. All we have to do is kind of plug in who's going, when you want to go, and we can get you that information right away. Number 6 on the list, this is a huge one, and I think specifically the reason a lot of people do the multi-gen trips, and that is quality family time. Let's face it, in this day and age, it's hard to get together as a family. Not true when we grew up. We knew Sundays we were going to go to the cousins, have Sunday dinner. That was kind of our staple.
Yeah, so I grew up in Denver and I am one of 8 kids. So I totally get it. Planning a family vacation with tons of people is hard.
But a cruise vacation creates an environment that is perfect for family bonding, shared experiences at sea, whether it's, dining together, doing onboard activities maybe. And the best, exploring new places that you have never been before.
Yeah, or maybe you have been there, but not the entire group. But it will also help strengthen the relationships, and you are going to create some great memories. One of my favorite things about cruising with a big group is getting together at dinner. And that's just kind of fun. You share everything that you did that day.
Well, that's true. I mean, you can do as much or as little as you want. Maybe you meet for a quick breakfast in the morning with everybody, and then everybody kind of goes off and does their own thing and whatever they want to do for the day, which is also great for sea days. You just explore the ship.
Yeah. And then you get back together for dinner and share your experiences for the day. You can even take different excursions based on the level of activity. So everybody doesn't have to do everything together.
And we'll wrap this up with number 7. Multi-gen cruises typically have very low stress.
I agree. And most people have an idea of what a cruise vacation is, even if they've never been on one. And that just means there's less anticipation of knowing what's going to be happening.
Exactly. You pretty much know what you're getting in advance. Even if you haven't been on a cruise, if you've watched The Love Boat, if you've seen, different cruise TV shows or watched YouTube, most people know what they're going to get when it comes to a cruise in general, not just a multi-gen family cruise, which is very different than, okay, it's all inclusive. Where are we going to go? Down to the Caribbean? Are we going to do Jamaica? And so with a cruise, it's pretty much a known type of travel.
Yeah, agreed. And more families are getting together for an annual or maybe like an every other year trip because, family time is important. And cruising does make it so simple. We see so many repeat multi-gen families that go on cruises. And here's what's fun is they start expanding over the years. And so maybe it just starts out with grandma, the kids and the grandkids. And then the next year, some cousins join in. So it also makes it really easy. We have seen groups on cruises where there have been like over 60 people.
Yep.
Absolutely insane, but there's a reason why a cruise is great for a multi-gen trip.
So we even have some clients we traveled with last year. We traveled again with them this year. And this group keeps growing. So now we're going on a trip with them, I think in June of 2025 and a group cruise in 2026. So when you put even a small group together, it does tend to grow. But I want to go back to one thing about cruising specifically is most cruises are going to have a kids club. So let's say that you're the grandparents and you just want to spend time with your kids, but you want the grandkids to have fun. They'll go off to the kids club and you probably won't see them for most of the day. That's especially true on a Disney cruise. And so now you can spend some quality time with your kids while the grandkids are also being taken care of.
Yeah. And another big trend when it comes to multi-gen, especially on cruises, is that some families like to do a service project in the middle of their cruise. And so maybe they go into Mexico and you can get these arrangements done. So not only are you doing a multi-gen trip, but you're doing one with meaning. So lots of different ways. And that's why we say, if you're ready to book your multi-gen trip, get with us or one of our Creating Magic Vacations travel advisor, and we can help you out.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. A special thank you for those that are watching us on the Creating Magic Vacations YouTube channel.
Yeah, that YouTube channel's blowing up, I hear.
It is, I hear.
Okay, maybe not.
It's just a rumor. So yeah, head on over to YouTube and let us know if you're inspired to take a multi-gen trip with your family.
Yeah, or if you have a favorite destination that you have traveled with your family, we would love to hear about it. Until next time,
never stop exploring.